eens een muisje in mooi Amsterdam. Die zat in een molen, heel stiekem verscholen.
Hello, Wobbly Phil here. I've recently been exploring the Weird Bikes rabbit hole, and there have certainly been some doozies. I've also been exploring the 1970s obsession with motorcycles powered by the
Wankel rotary engine,
as well as bikes with car engines bunged in them. But what if I told you there was a sexy, powerful production bike you could buy in the 1970s that was powered by a Wankel car engine and was very weird? Why very weird? Well, it was made in the country we don't ordinarily associate with sexy, powerful bikes. The Netherlands. Nope, I'm not serving you a monkey sandwich. This story is the real deal. It's 1974 and the rotary engine is being touted as the next big thing. Two strokes aren't going to cut it. Sure, it was almost as polluting, but you could get more bangs for your buck, albeit with fewer miles per gallon, and you didn't need to go to extraordinary and costly lengths, like building an inline six-cylinder engine to obtain the smooth ride that everyone was after. The big four Japanese manufacturers were all developing rotary-engined bikes. That said, only Suzuki's RE5 would make it into production in 1975. Who better then than a gentleman living in the land of things that go round and round to grasp the Wankel baton and run with it? Henk van Veen was going places. Based in Amsterdam, he'd been importing German Kreidler motorcycles and had achieved a great deal of racing success with them in the 50cc class. But Mr. van Veen had big dreams of building a bigger production superbike, a category of machine which probably originated with the launch of Honda's CB750 in 1969. Van Veen decided that a Wankel was the way to go, and by 1974 had completed his first prototype, which he exhibited at the Cologne Motorcycle Show. It was well received, so plans were made to take the Van Veen into production. A decision was made to go with the recently developed co-motor, the liquid-cooled rotary love child of a liaison between Citroën and NSU. This Birotor engine, and for the hard of understanding out there, that means it had two rotors, was a thirsty beast. The car Citroën used it in, the GS Birotor, bombed on the day it was launched, coinciding as the launch did with the start of the 1973 oil crisis. 2 years later, Citroën famously attempted to buy back and crush every one of the 847 Birotors it had sold, so as to avoid the cost and bother of supporting them for years with servicing and spares. Henk van Veen must have been undeterred by all this bad news, because he carried on regardless and launched the Van Veen OCR 1000 in 1978, 1000 cc's being the equivalent displacement of the co-motor rotary engine.
Trillingsvrij loopt en mechanisch vrijwel geruisloos is.
With 100 horses at a time when the stonking Kawasaki Z900 could only manage 82, 103 foot-pounds of smooth torque, a claimed 135 miles per hour top speed, a gearbox designed by Porsche combined with a shaft drive, and triple Brembo disc brakes, the Van Veen was the one to beat. Reportedly, it handled way better than any of its contemporaries too. It was a great-looking bike. You could almost say the design was ahead of its time, and Van Veen paid terrific attention to finish and detail. But it was heavy, at almost £700, and it didn't half cost a pretty penny. The list price was $15,000. That's about $65,000 at 2024 prices. Twice the price of a BMW R100 RS of the same period. No wonder it was the preserve of Moneybags buyers like publisher Malcolm Forbes and Playboy Society photographer Gunter Sachs. It wasn't just the initial cost that was prohibitive. It was expensive to run too. A gallon of petrol would only take you 20 miles, meaning that with a 6-gallon fuel tank, you'd need to bring a very thick wallet with you and open it very often if you wanted to go on a road trip. And it burnt through almost 2 pints of engine oil every 500 miles. That makes my 1975 Triumph Trident look like a teetotaler. By 1981, it was all over. The co-motor engine was no longer available, having pretty much bankrupted NSU and Citroën single-handedly. Only 38 examples of the Van Veen had been built. Henk Van Veen rode off on the ultimate hog-out, presumably astride one of his amazing machines, at the age of 78 in 2012. Needless to say, these bikes are now as rare as rocking horse shit, and finding one on sale is like finding a needle in a haystack the size of Jupiter. I did find an example at Christie's auctioneers which sold for over £20,000, way above its estimate of £4,000 to £6,000. But that was in 2005, although this lucky gentleman in the good old US of A appears to have recently bought two. He's determined to get them running, so if you want to follow his journey, the link to his video is in the description, along with all the other videos in this video.
The Van Veen.
And feel success. But wait, there's an epilogue to this story. In 2011, 10 more Van Veens were built out of spare parts using the mothballed factory tooling and sold for an estimated $125,000 each. Hurrah! I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please consider liking, subscribing, commenting and sharing to let YouTube know we're doing something right here at Three Phils. Thank you.